Okay, so I'll welcome our next speaker up to the stage now. So I think we've got Mitty.
Yeah, it's Graham talking.
Great. Great. Please come up.
You should be good to go.
Tūtahi, tēnei te mihi, te hakainga o Tāmaki Makaurau. Whātua ki o rāke, tēnā koe, ko wai au, ko tuangi te maunga, wai au te awa, ko au kumara te ngāhere, ko Ngāti Parau te iwi, so we're going actually to the north. We're from the Whakapae east, we're from the Whakapae north. Yes, and myself and Mary Tamanui, I'm just hoping that this is a corridor of hope, because yeah, not so not much in the rural space, not an outside of the wilderness. We've probably lost food species from that around our heading, and so we've set up a Hapu led Myrtle Rust project. We've been going for 3 years with for nature funding. And for me, the hope was that, our mana whenua groups were given the opportunity to have some skin in the game of biosecurity. This is not going to be it's not the first nana that comes over the horizon, and it's definitely not going to be the last. So we've been able to build capacity and capability at the grassroots level to manage these incursions is good news in my book. So I'll talk through some of this, and then Vedek, who's like our project manager with our Hapu project. We include 7 locals. He was our project manager, then a nursery technician, we had our own small nursery business, and then 5 kaimahi. So we've got like the dog rangers that do all the monitoring on the ground and stuff. So yeah, so trying up the moon in Myrtle and like in Whakapae.
It's the other way. Is there another arrow? Yeah.
Yeah, so the brief overview 2017 was when we first Myrtle Rust showed up over our way, but by then it was pretty much and starting to make inroads into the south. So the official went from doing something about it to just management. Yeah, we were lucky enough through relationships to have a relationship with the conservation ministers at the time, and they were Kenny Tucker Ellis. Myself and Mary were the only ones sort of doing nothing in the Myrtle Rust base at home, and the Rama was the obvious one that was getting impacted. And then sharing that on social media, there was no real ripple on the pond, so to speak. It doesn't really have, Rama doesn't have the cultural impact of the Ururoa or the economic drought of Manukau. And so, yeah, what's it go from Rama to Ururoa, and so we started seeing a lot of regen Ururoa start to die off. And again, not much of a reaction on social media, trying to share what was happening. A little bit more of a ripple on the pond with Ururoa being impacted. But we ended up getting our hands on some of the Manukau cultivars that a lot of the stations or farms up our way were destocking and planting millions of these high UMF Manukau cultivars. And I thought this was strange because Myrtle Rust was in the neighbourhood, and typical gold rush, nobody sort of thinking about the impacts, and so we got our hands on about 50 of these Manuka seedlings, and yeah, they end up being infected, and then so the conservation really pretty much showed up the next day and asked what we thought a response was going to be, and so, or what we thought would be, so, for a Hapu lead response, because most of the, it's got 40 or 15 native vehicles that go over our way, and they generally all on private lands, not so much on conservation land. And so, yeah, this is some of our crew. Yeah, so the objectives, so monitoring, so with ArcGIS, our dashboard, I'll let Mary talk about that a bit later. So the entry trials, the idea was we wanted to get our cuttings of all those 14 native myrtles and grow them on. We only had 3 years, so to grow them on, so was faster than you'd be cutting them in opposed to growing them from seeds, takes longer. Grow them on and then plant them back out into these places that had real rampant myrtle rust, and just to test their susceptibility, and hoping that not all of them would succumb to myrtle rust, and then those that did, we could sort of focus our efforts on doing something to try and keep them around longer. And spray trials was another big emphasis. What we noticed in the field is you can't beat experience like in the field. So what was noticed is when myrtle rust is rampant, or at its height, it's when mushroom season's around, so everyone loves their mushrooms. So it's key at the same time when the myrtle rust is at its worst. Things like that, we noticed that ramarama that was under Kanekaha wasn't so much infected with myrtle rust as opposed to some that were away from Kanekaha. So anyone that knows that species, it's got that fungicide in there as well. So that those species that we included in our spring trials. One of our main myrtle species in the East Coast is that we've lost most of our liver forest farming is Kaneka. We've got millions and millions of Kaneka, so we've never ever noticed myrtle rust on Kaneka, which is Hunzia, which is another native myrtle. So I thought it was definitely something in that Kaneka that could be used as a possible spray trial. So we're lucky that we've got our Manuka oil factory at Te Aroha, and so, and as well as the honey businesses, and so we were able to get some Kaneka hydrosols and Manuka hydrosols to trial out for spray trials, and so we should be able to see some of the results of that in this display. Yeah, and this has all been about our engaging with our community, and so another one of the highlights is how it's not just our kaimai that is taken on with all this new mātauranga, but also their wider families, so the aunties and uncles, younger brothers and sisters all know about myrtle rust now, and so it's just gone out and out. I can still remember that on day one when we signed them all up, and I told them that they were going to be the experts on myrtle rust, and I can still see 7 stunned mullet looks. Because, they couldn't tell the difference between the Manuka and the Kaneka. But 3 years later, and just the confidence that you see in them about, public talks and sharing the facts with their communities, because they're living, they're doing the do. And yeah, with the next generation, our young ones coming through, they will help out with all the monitoring and stuff. Our rangatahi. Yeah, this is the Manuka that had myrtle rust on. Yeah, you have to say that Manuka doesn't seem to be a species to worry about. So You probably got my legs crossed and I've seen enough Manukau now, millions of cultivars and right next to indigenous remnants that are just riddled with myrtle rust, nothing on the yeah, so that's some of the species that we have here. Yeah, so one of my favourite timing routers is retrocitrus lentil, if anyone is familiar. It's the easy one, and so yeah, we've just pretty much watched it slip away. And so yeah, yes, just yeah, and I think it's all related to climate. So like the last couple of summers, we've had like the La Nina, which is terrible for our myrtles because it's warm and humid, and so they just get no respite from myrtle rust infection, and they can handle one or two lots of infection in a year, but if it's through all over a season, some of these species can't handle that, and so we can have it sort of documented. Yeah, monitoring is
Not a good time. Ko mire tamanui a hau, I whānau mai au, he tauranga moana, engari ka hoki au, I hoki au ki taka kainga a Ururoa, te taira awhiti, i ngā marama. Tēnā tātou katoa, monitoring, just on the previous slide, you'll see on the bottom picture, our kaimahi starting on the pen and paper before we advance to the ArcGIS 123 survey. So over the time, we've done over 5.5 individual observations on Rako, 5.5K. This dashboard is really awesome that we're able to go back to our community, our whānau Hapu, and show them is myrtle rust here or not. That's probably the biggest pie graph that they like to look at. Also look at the dieback and looking at the pie graph again of the canopy coverage. And this is a really good indicator for us to tell us in pictures form, are we in a green zone, orange zone, or red zone, and for us to be able to act on those findings. We have, as you can see, we have about 20 different transects across Tairāwhiti. You can see the majority over there from Te Whānau Apunu around to Ngāti Porou, and then coming down into Te Whānau area. We do have a couple of whānau in between and kura that we go and see, however they've chosen to stay off the grid. So yeah, our response is really Whakapae Pākihi tuakana teina. So the relationship that we once held together was with Hauti, Taua, his brother, and Mahaki. And based on the kaitiakitanga that they displayed back in the day, the brothers dispersed out and about, otherwise, no uawa, Taraki Oro Marae, Tātou. They came from a little called Taraki Oro in Whakapae. Through this recent day and age of biosecurity, Te Whakapae Ururoa is about unity and bringing back our whānau, back those brothers, in our response to climate change, disease and pathogens, and all those things. So it's been really awesome on the front line, having boots on the ground, and our rangatahi, and our Pakeke coming back together in those responses and then reinvigorating that ancestral knowledge and connections that we once had. Pretty cool board. You can click on it, blow it up, check out every month. In comparison, hey, Cuzzy, you haven't been on the ground, use those. So, it's a great way of being able to keep track of each other, especially when a big, huge distribution of the mahi that we do on the ground. But we love it. We get to tūhono. We get to go back to our land. We get to walk at ahikoi, awaha, come together and bring about that knowledge that flourishes through our tamariki and our community engagements. So yeah, we're very fortunate that one of our kaimahi too, Miria Baka, started with us, but she got scooped up by the manuka industry. So she was able to bring her specialties and skills to us and teach us much more about the manuka side. So being able to get hydrosol was pretty cool. You can see we've had to build a nursery, Awatiri Nursery. This is led by Rebecca Walker, also supported by Ururoa Factory Road Native Nurseries. So we know through biosecurity it's good to have 3 different places. So we're like 3 different rohe, 3 different iwi, and it's really important to us, like you mentioned before, in respect of tikana, that we give the opportunity to our whānau and hapu to determine what that looks like for them. So being able to share that space, if one nursery wasn't successful, the other ones are able to assist and what that looks like. So that turned out successful for us. As you can see, we have some Ecuadorians at the top there coming for a visit, having a look at our putakawa. I'm happy to see these putakawa were grown from seed. So we got to do seed bank cutting and some kānuka that went out to be exposed at the Mātahi of the Tau Marae. That marae is the furthest up the East Cape by the lighthouse, where we have a stand of Project Crimson in Rākau that are quite heavily invested. So this has been a good trial site for us to look at different rongoa. We were fortunate enough to have Robert Bestwood and Michael Inslee come up to Te Aroha and have wānanga with us to look at the modern synthetics and fungicides. Got a bit scary about the cost and the impacts of long-term use of those chemical sprays and stuff. So back to our pūrākau, back to our whakapapa, and looking at rongoa as the answer.
Yes, so Albie alluded to in his first talk, the big power medical who's in Te Aroha, we found Myrtle last time, it would be a couple of years ago, and no one was brave enough to try any spray trials on the tree. But we were lucky there in the township, there's a whole lot of uri or descendants that were planted from that big tree as part of a township beautification, and so we were able to trial the sprays on those trees because no one was brave enough to start spraying the big tree and even forbid it drops all its leaves or something. So yeah.
Yeah, so we've tried to target all our kura on inside Āpiti. We've been able to join some awesome other kaiao ope, including the Kumarapai Maunga, on roadshows to go around and integrate all our kaiao learning, but giving kids a diverse option of engagement. So yeah, using multiple disciplinaries, going in and giving something to everyone. Do we have any repair? Here we go. Here we have Anaru Dog at the top. He was probably our youngest kaimahi. Yet when it comes to kōrero now, who couldn't even look up, he's just beautiful, awesome. So it's really awesome to see our kaimahi grow capacity with this kaupapa. We have Zion here, we have Elizabeth down here. Everyone knows Elizabeth, she's so energetic and passionate too. Here we have our ArcGIS mappers meeting together at Zion. Beautiful Jackie Bond in back there. The Whakapae kōrero rawa, they were just working out together what would be the best monitoring ArcGIS 123 surveys and dashboards and how they could collaborate things. And here we have our whānau on the ground. As you can see, our tamariki have become very much involved, especially te waha o Rerekohu, te kura o ngā kaitaki o te waha o Rerekohu rākau. So for the big Putakawa rākau, it actually sits on the school. So it's very vital for us to have them a part of that every inch and step of the way. That they take ownership of this and yeah. Solutions to combat myrtle rust. One is it's pretty sad that the funding is coming to an end, and we don't say maybe the project's coming to the end, but the kaupapa will not come to the end. As uri or whānau from those lands, it's our obligation and inheriting right to mahi atu mahi and mai tonu te hāpai tia te whenua. So yeah, we'll continue doing these surveys, and we just know that the continual growth of that ArcGIS map will give us some long-term and short-term trends, hopefully, and indicators of what to do, as well as mahi atu mahi tonu o te rangahau. Our Māori just keep practicing what we're doing with our tikanga, and the hope and natural guidance of solutions to come. Kia ora.